Welcome to Travel with Sean. I'm Sean. Today we're in central Greece exploring the Meteora monasteries. There are several of these monasteries built on cliff tops by hermit monks 500 to 600 years ago. I'll tell you more about them coming right up. Meteora is a region in central Greece. It's about 3 hours southwest of Thessaloniki and about 3.5 hours northwest of Athens. As you approach the region, you begin to see its beauty. Rolling hills, small mountains, deep valleys, and steep cliffs. First start to see the monasteries, you begin to wonder, how did they build that? Great question. It's honestly incredible what they accomplished over the years. Some of the monasteries are within walking distance of the local towns of Kalabaka and Kastraki. A lot of people like to walk, whether it's because parking can be challenging or because of the beauty that surrounds them as they walk. The first ones to use the cliffs of Meteora for spiritual reasons were Orthodox Christian hermit monks. They came to this place between the 9th and 10th centuries to find quiet and to isolate themselves in the many caves found scattered among the cliffs. For centuries, those monks lived in complete isolation. Around the 12th century, a monk named Nilos gathered the hermit monks scattered around Meteora into a more organized monastic community. 2 centuries later, in the 14th century, another monk named Athanasios climbed the second highest rock to establish the first monastery here. It's called the Great Meteoron. By the 16th century, at the height of Meteora's monastic community, there were 24 monasteries built on cliffs here. In the 17th century, the Meteora monasteries began to decline, and that decline lasted for the next 3 centuries. Today, only 6 out of the initial 24 monasteries remain active, including the Great Meteoron, the first of them. Collectively, they were named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. 2 of these are now occupied exclusively by nuns rather than monks, but in the Eastern Orthodox tradition, they are still called monasteries. The Great Meteoron is called the monastery which remains suspended in air because of the cliff formation of a gigantic rock on top of which it was built. Although the monasteries were accessible only by a rope ladder for centuries, and in some cases, monks carved steps into the cliffs themselves. Today, modern concrete stairs make the climb a bit easier. It's a physical journey that connects you to the centuries of dedication and faith. Today, at the Great Meteoron, the monks use a cable car to travel from the mainland over the valley to the monastery, connecting them to the outside world in a way their predecessors could never have imagined. Close by the Great Meteoron is the holy monastery of Varlam, the second biggest monastery of Meteora. The monastery is built on a cliff over 1,224 feet or 373 meters above the valley floor. The distance to walk up to one of the Meteora monasteries typically ranges from about 100 yards to 1,100 yards, depending on which monastery you're visiting and the terrain. Some monasteries are closer, while others require a longer walk, especially if the path is steep or winding. There are also numerous stairs to climb. We are now walking to the Rousanou Monastery, which is said to be relatively short and accessible, being located on a smaller rock formation. So I'm going to show you what this shorter distance is like. Despite the long walk and numerous stairs, when you get to the top, the view is spectacular. One might even say it is breathtaking. After walking up to the monastery, then you still have to climb the stairs going back down, and you still have the long walk ahead of you. Leaving Rousanou Monastery, I took a different route than the way I went in. This path takes me through some woods, and gives me a completely different view of Meteora. Sometimes when you need to take a break, rather than sitting, you just need to stretch. The monasteries are well marked with signs stating their visiting hours and which day of the week they're closed to visitors. Being built on cliff tops and built onto the side of cliffs, these monasteries are visible for miles around. With all the walking and climbing involved, many people choose 2 or 3 monasteries to visit in one day. 3 is pretty much the most you can see in a day anyway, just because of the time commitment involved. Overall, I'd have to say that visiting the Meteora monasteries is well worth it. Whether you visit all 6 or just one. I said earlier that the hermit monks occupied caves in the cliffs as early as the 9th and 10th centuries. One of these abandoned hermitages is near the town of Castrati and dedicated to St. George. There is a local legend about a Muslim landowner who in the early 17th century was cutting down trees near the base of this cliff when a tree fell on him, wounding him severely. When his wife found him, she screamed for help, and some villagers ran to her aid. There was little to be done for him, so they advised the wife to pray to St. George for help. She climbed up to the hermitage to leave the saint an offering to spare her husband's life, but the only thing of value she had was her colorful headscarf, so she left it there. After a few days, he began to improve and was eventually completely healed. Thus began the tradition of tying colorful headscarves at this cave. Every year, on April 23, St. George's Day, local youth climb up to replace the headscarves in the belief that they will maintain good health and have good marriages. Despite the numerous youth who have for years been climbing up with nothing but ropes, there have not ever been any serious accidents. This ends our tour of the Meteora Monasteries. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thanks for watching. I always appreciate your support. Until next time, bye-bye.